Hello, and thank you for listening. My name is Luke Mardigian. You are listening to Be Insured, where we talk about business, leadership, and insurance. That way, on your worst day, when you need it the most, you will be insured. I know most of us as business owners are just in the entre experiment phase. We're just trying to make it work and seeing what sticks to the walls. But one of the biggest mistakes you can make in a service-based business is working with clients that are not a good fit for you. If they're not your perfect patron, I'd argue that you're spending probably 80% of your time and 80% of your emotional effort, and 80% of your problems are being caused by 20% of the clients who aren't even a good fit and you shouldn't be working with in the first place. And so in today's episode, we'll talk about why it's important to select clients that align with your core values, believe the same things that you believe, and how to better qualify leads that are coming through your door. That way you can get crystal clear on who your ideal client is, and that'll help you explode your growth in the end. And I'm excited to be joined by my awesome co-host,
Eric Gestring in the Mardigian Agency.
We're also excited to have Mike Maddox joining us for today's discussion as well. Mike is the CEO of ASK, a top IT and cybersecurity company located right here in Lansing, Michigan. Mike, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Luke and Eric.
Mike, before we dive into this topic, can you tell our listeners more about ASK and the services that you offer?
You bet. ASK is a cybersecurity and IT consulting company based in Lansing, Michigan, with clients throughout the state. We specialize in a consultative approach to both technology and cybersecurity, and what we mean by consultative is we don't believe that technology has value for a business just on its own. Its value is created when we can find ways for that technology to produce efficiency or increase profits or reduce complexity and solve real business problems. Same on the cybersecurity side. So we do a lot of that through road mapping and client consultation, always starting with the business's strategy and building technology on top of that.
And you have a perfect client, a perfect patron. Who is that? Who do you work best with?
Yeah, that's a great question, Luke, because in your intro you talked about the 80-20 rule, and we found that over the years to be very true at ASK. And, early on, we, like a lot of businesses, made the mistake of thinking, the perfect client is the most profitable client or the biggest client. And it took us a while to realize exactly what you pointed out, which is, the clients that we need to work with, the clients that are long-term the best fit for us, both from a financial standpoint and an emotional standpoint, are the ones that match our core values. And looking at that and taking the actual intentional effort to identify what it is that we're looking for. And for ASK, it's around our core values. It starts with, do they share the same values that we do? And do they also look at technology the way we do? Do they look at it as something that can drive business forward? Or is it viewed as a necessary evil or just a pure cost center?
Wow.
And there's nothing wrong with that view. I mean, business owners and executives have the right to look at it any way they want to, but to be a client of ASK, they really need to look at technology as a business driver and something that's foundational to their business and something they can be strategic about. And then lastly, the third element for us is the client who is interested in a true partnership, to use an overused phrase. But, a client-vendor relationship is not something that we thrive at. I mean, we want to be involved in, as I said earlier, their business strategy, their long-term vision. We want to understand how they operate, and that requires a sense of partnership. And so for ASK, those are the clients that we're looking for.
Yeah, it's actually incredible as you're talking how much your perfect patron lines up with ours. I would not have guessed that IT and insurance would have had similar characteristics of an ideal client, but it really is, for you, it's technology. Do they view technology as important, something that's driving them forward? Well, for us, it's, do they view insurance as important, or is it, like you said, we use that word all the time, a necessary evil? Or do they think insurance is a racket? Or, there's a number of ways that clients reveal that they don't believe insurance is important. But if they don't believe it's important, we're going to butt heads at every turn, because the second they do have a cyber issue, they're going to be upset at us that it's not insured. But but on the other side of that coin, at the beginning, they told us they don't want to pay for insurance that they don't think they need. and it just causes issues the entire relationship.
The key is to expose that, right?
As fast as possible.
Yep. Mike, this is Eric. I just wanted to know, how did you identify who your ideal client was, and what did that process look like for you guys?
That's a great question, Eric. So we went through a process of actually taking a look from 10,000 feet at all of our clients and making a list of who are the clients that, we enjoy working with the most, and what is it about them. And what we found is that the clients that we really enjoyed working with the most were the ones that we could also identify were getting the most value out of the relationship.
Yeah.
That they could put their hands on, and they could actually give us real numbers as to why they partnered with ASK and what the return on that relationship has meant to them. And so we found all these commonalities, and the commonalities were the things I referred to earlier. And then we found a group of clients that that didn't fit that model. That we just, as Luke was just talking about, we were butting heads. We were constantly having issues, and it was a mismatch of culture. Is what it came down to. It was a mismatch of core values of the way of viewing how a business runs. And some of them were, bigger clients. Some of them were, profitable clients. Some of them were long-term clients. And that created a decision point for us.
Yeah. So how early in the process do you identify that? So that's going through your existing clientele. Moving forward from that point, once you actually cleaned that up and you started removing those people who didn't believe what you believe, therefore causing conflict or disconnect in the way that you're doing business, how does your team now identify those perfect patrons moving forward?
So I think it starts with understanding. The team has to really understand who you are as a company, and has to not only understand it, but believe in it and buy into it. Yeah. So when we talk about core values, or we talk about what we call the ASK way of managed IT or cybersecurity, we have that defined, and it has to be more than just a nice PowerPoint or a slide or a graphic and some nice phrases. It has to be ingrained in the DNA of your people, and so it even gets back to hiring. So we're at the point now where when a new potential employee is being interviewed, the first interview is with me, and I often tell them right in the interview, look, I haven't read your resume. I'm not here to talk to you about your skills or your abilities. Other people are going to do that. I'm here to talk to you about who we are and what our core values are and what we believe in and how we view business and how we view technology and what we're shooting for, and find out if you're in alignment with that. Nothing wrong if you're not. There's nothing wrong with that,
right,
except for the fact that if we hire you and you come to work for us, you're not going to like it, and we're not going to like you eventually.
Yep. And
it's going to be a mismatch. So getting that team on board was the first step, and then the same thing with new potential clients. I mean, we have that discussion right out of the gate. We say, this is who we are. This is how we do IT management. This is our process. We have a very well-defined process over 30 years that we can point to and say, we know that this is what works. And we've had potential clients say, well, we'd like to do part of that, but we don't really want to do all of that. Without getting into too many of the weeds here, guys, we call it the 3 pillars of technology, but we explain that. And when a potential client says, we don't really want to buy into all of that, we tell them it's just not a fit. I mean, this is how we do it. And if it's not a fit, if you don't feel like that's what you want, then we're not the right provider for you. We're not the right partner for you.
So for those listening, if I were a business owner listening to this who hasn't gone through a process similar to EOS, hasn't identified their perfect patron, the first thing I think is you just walk away from revenue. I mean, your business must be just tanking now.
Yeah, it's scary when you start to do this, and EOS, it drove us to this point and helped us identify our perfect patron and our core niche and how we do things and the ASK way. But what you find is the opposite. You find that the clients that you really want to do business with and want to do business with you filter to the top. and appreciate that approach. And I've had more owners and executives say to me, you know what, I've been waiting for somebody to come along and say these things, because we're not an expert in technology. We want somebody to come in with the confidence and the history and the experience to say, we know how it works. Yet you have to trust us on this. We know how to make it work for you and to produce more profit for you. And so it gives us a competitive advantage as well.
Mike, I like how you said that you have the quality clients rise to the top with your process. As far as you guys identifying who your ideal patron or client is and working towards that, how do you guys identify qualified leads to keep coming them in? I mean, for us, I feel like it's a lot of word of mouth. People are just like, this is what we experience with our agencies. Referrals. Yeah. So referrals are big for us. What is it like for you guys?
Yeah, it's the same, Eric. Referrals are the best source of new potential clients and new leads. And I think also branding and marketing are important, and your marketing efforts have to expose who you are as a company. They have to tell the world, this is what we believe in, and this is how we do business, and this is how we do IT, or this is how we do insurance. And we can show you through other clients' experiences why we do it this way.
Yeah.
And that's very important to get that message out there. And then the combination of the word of mouth and the branding and the other efforts you make at funnel development usually help you identify the right clients. I don't want to understate the fact that this approach does take probably a lot more work to find new clients, because you're going to walk away from some potential deals.
Yeah, and you kind of have to be okay with that in your heart. And the main reason is because, like the title of this episode is, it's the 80-20 rule. I would rather spend 80% of my time finding the 20% of the clients that are perfect than spend 80% of my time on the 20% of clients who stink and are going to take up all my time.
What a great way to say it, Luke. And then the other thing that's involved with that is you can't really tell your staff that we believe in these core values and we believe in these things, and then continue to support clients that clearly are a mismatch.
Wow.
You've got to walk the walk.
100%. I agree.
You're preaching right there.
Yeah. So as far as determining whether clients are going to be a good fit for your company or not, it kind of comes easier as the whole team believes it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that takes time. I mean, as you guys know, with an EOS model, an entrepreneurial operating system model, you start with the leadership team, and then you get it ingrained there, and then you get down to the management level, and you get down to the all staff level, and it does take time to get that across and to get it truly in the DNA. But once it is, man, it's like the title of one of Gino Wickman's books is rocket fuel. It's like rocket fuel. Your business starts to take off.
Yeah, it really does. What we found is at the our organization's smaller and shallower than yours. Not that you're massive, but you're 10, 15 years ahead of us. And what we found is that as our frontline customer service reps and salespeople really started catching onto this, they actually became happier and started working less. And so that's when the buy-in for us occurred was, oh, wow, we don't want to spend a bunch of time on this client who's just going to leave us over a $5 a month insurance raise anyways. I'm going to give a ton of attention to this client who's calling us frustrated and is legitimately frustrated and is a profitable, good, healthy, polite, kind, positive, engaged client that's in line with our core values. And once our front line got onto that, they started realizing that actually it's less work if I just actually take care of the people who want to be taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's we all know it kind of inherently that you do your best work when you're enjoying what you do and you believe in what you do, and when you're frustrated or when you're under stress or under anxiety from those clients that cause that because of the mismatch. And it's not a value statement. Again, I mean, when we made this decision, went down this road, and we had to offboard some clients that weren't a match, it was not a conflict. The conversation was not confrontational. It was just open and honest and saying, here's where we're at. Here's the things that we believe in. This is how we do it. And we don't feel like it's a match. And in some cases, the conversation was with the client was, we don't think it's a match either. We don't really look at it that way, and we parted friends. I mean, it was not as painful as I would have thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, if your values don't line up, then you're just okay with that. It's actually a relief usually
for both people.
Yeah.
So, Mike, thanks so much for being on the show today, talking about our Perfect Patron. Where can people connect with you?
So the best place to start is at our website, which is justask.net, justask.net. There's a great section called Business Fundamentals. If you're a business owner, check that out. It has a lot of free tools and resources around the stuff that we're talking about on the program today.
Awesome.
And you can also reach us by phone at 877-ASK, the number 4, ASK, 877-ASK for ASK.
I love it. Mike, thanks so much for being on, and thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Be Insured.